Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of radiant settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
Yes, people, how's it going? Big up to all of you. I hope you're keeping nice and warm. I've got a fan on here. As you can see, my Bruised Banana t-shirt is absolutely loving the fan as much as I am. It is well needed up here. Very warm, but we can't complain. We're all happy. Big up to all of you. I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope you've all got busy plans, and I hope you're looking forward to only a few more weekends without competitive football. Yeah, it's been a bit of a slog, hasn't it? But it will 100% get back very, very soon. So I hope you're all looking forward to that. Make sure you do me a favor, people. Well over 170 of you in already. So please make sure you do me a favor by hitting the like button. Make sure you do me a favor by hitting the subscribe button. And make sure that you do me a favor by joining the channel if, of course, you would like to contribute a very small amount to the channel every month. Big up to all of you for being here in the chat. You're all going mad already. It's great to see you. Big up to Steve, Ash, Carol, Lewis, Shelby, Callie, Ben, Joe, and all the rest of you. And, of course, everybody that's watching and catch up as well. There is a bit of a plot twist. After Arsenal not being linked with Osimhen for the last few weeks, it all died down. It looks like Chelsea was where he was going. It looks as if now Arsenal are still interested in a striker, and Osimhen is one of the guys that we are looking at. So we're going to talk on the links and the rumours circulating around Arsenal who are going to be looking to move for Osimhen, it seems. We're going to be talking about Julian Alvarez, another player that Arsenal are looking at. I'll be absolutely shocked if Manchester City even thought about sending him to Arsenal, but we have to discuss it. And we're also going to be looking at what's happening with Eddie Nketiah, because that could be a massive, massive twist in the tail, so to speak, for what's happening with Eddie. Where's he going to go? Is he going to stay? Is he going to leave? What club is he going to leave to? There's a lot going on. And there's also a lot that kind of overlinks with each other. There's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of potential domino effects that will be happening in the last couple of weeks. And of course, we still need to talk about what's happening out wide, because as things stand, there is only Bukayo Saka and Nelson that are out on the right-hand side. Nelson linked with a move away. What do we do? Do we need another winger as well as another forward? Or could we just get a striker and use Jesus out there? I want you to do me a favor today, people. I want you to show some love to Manscaped. Manscaped, as you saw in the promo there, we are trying to help them out. They are trying to help us out. They're a huge sponsor for the channel now, so please make sure you show them some love. All you have to do is click on the pinned comment. It will take you straight to their website, and all you need to do is select the Beard Hedger, which is under Beard and Face. Select the Beard Hedger. You will see 20% has come off automatically using the code FTM20 if you do need to. But it should happen automatically. Please make sure you go and sort yourself out some beard trimmers, because trust me, they are the best. Manscaped is where it is at. So please make sure that you go and show them some love. Let's get back to transfers, shall we? Well over 300 of you, nearly 350 of you already tuned in. So please make sure that you hit the like button on your way in and subscribe to the channel. We're going to bring up some rumors. We're going to bring out some transfer talk today. Osimhen is where we're going to start. Now, I have always said that Osimhen would be a striker that would potentially excite the Premier League, whether that's Chelsea, Manchester United or Arsenal or Liverpool, wherever brings him in or feels like they can bring him in. I do believe it's a striker that personally would light up the league. Now, I know it's a risk. I know it's a lot of money. I don't like the look of his injury record either in parts, but I tell you this now, he, if fit and if firing on all cylinders, is a sort of player that can take a team across the line. Because we've seen it with Napoli. Yeah, him and Kvaratskhelia 2 seasons ago now absolutely lit it up. Got over 30 goals. Kvaratskhelia was unbelievable that season as well. Napoli won. So for me, I look at what Osimhen can do, and it's definitely good enough for the Premier League. What I will say is some of his attributes actually do suit the Premier League. He's there in the box. He's a bit of a killer. He's obviously got attributes up top that people like. He's absolutely physically good enough in terms of his strength. I understand where people come from, not the best of African nations, some injury concerns, a lot of money. This is going to be a risk. Whoever signs Victor Osimhen, it is not going to be not a risk. But tell me a number 9 that Arsenal can sign that is not going to be a risk. Because can Ivan Toney step up? Would Ollie Watkins be able to do it in an Arsenal shirt? Is Victor Gyökeres going to come over to the league and bang? Is Victor Osimhen going to come over to the league and bang? So other than Alexander Isak, there isn't a striker that I look at that Arsenal could sign that I 100% can guarantee is going to get us across the line. But we've got to try. We can't just wait, and one day maybe Isak will be available, or maybe next season we see another striker that comes in and go, that's the guy that we want. I personally feel like Osimhen could be one of the targets that could bang for Arsenal. Now, Chelsea are apparently interested. PSG are apparently interested. In fact, PSG, rumours suggest, have agreed personal terms of Osimhen, which is why I thought it was going to happen. I thought that he would come in at PSG and be the replacement to the Mbappe that everybody knows as the big name signing, and then everyone's happy. But Chelsea have got involved. Now, Chelsea have got involved not just because they need a striker, but because Napoli want their striker. Antonio Conte is now the Napoli manager, and he wants Lukaku. Lukaku and Conte have always had that connection and that relationship, and it's no shock to me that he wants to go and get Lukaku at Napoli. So that is why there's been links to Chelsea. Now, David Ornstein had bombed the other morning, suggesting that this was probably going to happen to Chelsea. So I don't know where that's gone and why that's not happened. There was also some reports and rumours suggesting that actually David Ornstein was wrong and that Osimhen didn't want Chelsea. And that actually it wasn't going to be a loan move with an option to buy. He wanted to go permanently and he wanted to go to a European club in Champions League football. That's not Chelsea. PSG can offer Champions League football. The other club that can is Arsenal. So for me, I think we should try and do all we can to upgrade on the Eddie Nketiah position. People say, is it a striker? Is it upgraded on Jesus? Is it better than Havertz? How about let's be better than all three of them, yeah? Let's not come and get another Eddie and replace Eddie with another Eddie. Let's actually talk about someone who can come in and replace on all three that everybody's looking at going, oh dear, that's a striker that's going to get Arsenal across the line. And as much as I do believe personally that Alexander Isak is the one that everybody would say, yeah, fair play, that's the one Arsenal should be going for, I don't think we should just sit there and say that it can't be anybody else, because Victor Gyökeres is on fire. He's on form. Yeah, it would be a risk. Trust me, it would. But you know what? Arsenal have made risks over the last 20, 30 years, people. In fact, longer than that. I remember growing up thinking, who the hell is Thierry Henry? Who the hell is Robert Pires? Who the hell is Friedrich Lagungsberg? Trust me, everybody was getting their names wrong. They had never heard of them. Huge risks. All of them were. But they worked out. Now, don't get me wrong, some of them are not worked out, right? But you have to take that risks. And I think for me, Arsenal have to take a risk at going for that striker. I would have more respect for Edu and Arteta for going all out for a striker than to hold fire and go, nah, let's play it safe. Let's see if someone else becomes available soon. Oh, there's another league title gone. But we were still waiting for our perfect striker 6 years on. Let's go and get one. And if it has to be Osimhen, if it has to be Gyökeres, I'll back it and I'll give him 110% belief. That's the way I see it. Now, I personally believe someone's like in my Lagungsberg. I remember signing him thinking, who the hell is Lagungsberg? And who the hell is, I remember my dad saying to me, who the hell is Fabregas? Fabregas. I remember that. I remember all those days. And we grew up thinking, who the hell are these players? And they just turned into stars. Sometimes you've got to go and take a risk on these players. So I would actually argue that all those players were actually more of a risk. For me, that was what I would say. I would say they were more of a risk because I'd never heard of Robert Pires at the time. I'd never heard of Freddie Ljungberg. I'd never heard of Thierry Henry other than a few games at Juventus where apparently he was half decent. So we've got to take risks, man, 100%. So that's the way I see it. We've got to be doing that. And I would argue that Victor Osimhen is more heard of than the likes of Thierry Henry was over at Monaco and Juventus when we signed him. Same with Ljungberg when we signed him over at, who was it? Wasn't it Elfsborg over at Sweden that we went and signed him from? Same as Robert Pires was over at Marseille. So for me, there's definitely understanding of how we can go and get signings that are doing stuff at the moment in Europe. Victor Gyökeres is scoring an unbelievable amount of goals and assists over at Sporting Lisbon. We should be looking at him, and we are. Victor Osimhen, likewise, should be looking at him, and we are. Same with Julian Alvarez. So I think we just got to be realistic about it, to be honest with you, and say that I'm actually looking forward to who Arsenal go in and get. And I think we will get a striker because we're linked with too many not to now. We really are. Let's do me a favor and put some questions in the chat, people. You know the score by now. Make sure you put a Q at the start of it. I will answer as many as I can. throw in some super chats for me. 1, because it shows me some love. 2, because it supports the channel. And 3, because it gets your question to the front of the queue. So please make sure you do that. But if you don't want to throw a super chat, you know me by now. I'm not about your money. I'm about your love and support in other ways. And just you being here is amazing. If you could just put in some questions for me, I will read them out. I'm going to have some interaction with the chat. So make sure you put a Q at the start so I can star it and get your question read out. But first of all, let's talk about what's happening, shall we? Because at the moment, Victor Osimhen is the name on all Arsenal fans' lips. What's going on? Why are we linked? Are we linked? Is it true? What are the rumours? Well, there's quite a few rumours, to be honest, suggesting that Osimhen might be being looked at by Arsenal. Now, that definitely is something that should excite people, I am sure. And I can understand why it would potentially excite some people. So this has come from a couple of sources. Transfer News Live, as we all know, Deadline Day Live. That is a Twitter page which looks at all journalists' information and reports over in Italy are suggesting that Arsenal are actually interested here. And it says that Arsenal are moving heavily in the last hours for Victor Osimhen. The striker already has an agreement in place with PSG, which guarantees him a salary that is significantly higher than of Arsenal. So that to me suggests, right, that Arsenal aren't willing to go as high as PSG. But from what we're hearing, Arsenal would be willing to pay Napoli more money than PSG. So although Arsenal might not be in the market to say, do you know what, we're going to be giving you 115 million plus Osimhen on 400k a week, what we are going to potentially do is say, look, we ain't going to pay you with a 114. PSG definitely aren't. But if PSG are offering you, let's say 65 million, we'll be happy to go up to say 80 or 90, and then we'll put him on more less wages. So he'll have to come down to 300k a week, let's say, which I imagine PSG will be offering him more than that, or something mad anyway. So let's just give that example. PSG are saying, look how much money we can give you a week. Oh, but we only want to pay 40 million for you. Arsenal was saying, look, you might not go and be a millionaire with us, but you will actually go and earn a lot of money. And actually what you'll do is Napoli will be interested more because we're going to offer you more money. Closer to the 114 million. I don't know what that means. Whether it's 70, 80, 90, I've got no idea. We're guessing at the moment. All I know is that Victor Gyökeres will probably cost 84 million euros. Or 84 million pounds, actually, it would be 100 million euros. And Osimhen is going to be a little bit more than that, closer to 90 million pounds. If Napoli do want to sell him, then he's going to be around that price. So where do we go? What Victor do we go for? Do we go for Victor Gyökeres or do we go for Victor Osimhen? Now, Osimhen, to be fair, definitely is one that was more high profile. People will look at him and go, yep, that's the one. He's done it for Napoli. He's won stuff over in Serie A. Victor Gyökeres, fairly high respected over in what he's done at Portugal and also what he did at Coventry. So for me, yeah, there's opportunities for us to look at both these players. Arsenal definitely need a striker, that's for sure. And if Arsenal, the window ends and Arsenal don't get one, I'll be very, very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. That's for sure. I'm not going to sit there and say great window if we don't have a centre forward. That's for sure. And if we don't get a centre forward, we've got to have unbelievable winger that's coming in. A player that everyone knows and has heard of and says, do you know what, fair play, this is definitely one that takes Arsenal across the line to the next level. That's the way I see it. So, yeah, very interesting as to what's happening with Victor Osimhen. Now, what that makes this even more interesting for me is the fact that PSG are already looking potentially at this deal. In terms of them agreeing personal terms and trying to look at a fee, you would say, wouldn't you, that actually Osimhen is favourite now to go to PSG. Now, the reason Arsenal are now looking at this is because they believe that it's a player they're interested in and they can actually pay a lot more money than PSG. But as I say, wages will definitely be a little bit lower. But what's interesting is PSG have actually been linked today with another player, which I would suggest doesn't mean they're not interested in Osimhen no more. But what does actually interest me with this is why are they looking at another player if they're going to be going in for Victor Osimhen? Why would they be looking at another player? Now, I understand you have other targets, right? But apparently there is some news, and I don't know how reliable you believe these sources are. All I do is share information before everyone starts coming for me. The player we're talking about is Julian Alvarez. And it looks like he's going to leave Manchester City. It does. And according to Gaston Edel, PSG have made an offer to Manchester City for Julian Alvarez. Now, apparently, Atletico Madrid have also offered Manchester City for Julian Alvarez, but apparently the PSG offer is much higher than Atletico Madrid's. So City and Alvarez are looking at these two clubs right now, and they're thinking Atletico Madrid, PSG, both interested. Atletico have made progress with Alvarez's camp, and they will present an offer of around 60 million euros. It is very likely that he changes clubs in terms of he will leave Man City this summer. What does that mean for City? Do they go in for somebody else? Do they look to try and replace him with a baller that we're talking about and that everyone else has been linked with? They have got Haaland, so it's going to be very hard for them to bring in an Osimhen or a Victor Gyökeres maybe, or somebody like that who wants to play first-team football. But they will be looking at strikers if Alvarez goes. I've got no doubt about it. So for me, if PSG have made an offer, then that means they're either looking at getting Osimhen and Julian Alvarez, or one or the other. And that's very interesting that all of a sudden, Arsenal are now linked with Osimhen. Arsenal were saying they can offer more money to Napoli. And then all of a sudden, PSG have switched their targets to Julian Alvarez. And as I say, it could be they're looking at Alvarez as well or on top of Osimhen. But do you think both of them are going to go? I don't think so. I really don't believe that to happen. So that's what's happening in the world of journalism at the moment. Now, as I say, I don't know how reliable some of these journalists are. For me, Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein are the two that I turn to. But the ones that get put up in Transfer News Deadline Day, they're the ones you've got to be looking at to say, is this actually going to be happening? So if you look at it and think it's waffle, go for it. If you look at it and think it's happening, cool. All we do is share information on this channel and we discuss it and we see if we can believe this to be happening. Now, I said a couple of weeks ago, I thought the destination for Osimhen was PSG. And I still, if I'm honest, stand by that. But if they're now going for Julian Alvarez, potentially, where does that leave Victor Osimhen? Now, it could be that he's going to Chelsea and Arsenal will not link whatsoever. And Arsenal are not a club that actually they're looking at. And maybe it's not one that's serious. It's not a serious move, Osimhen to Arsenal. Maybe Arsenal are looking at Alvarez. Are Manchester City going to sell to Arsenal? I don't think so. I know they have done before with Jesus and Zinchenko, and they have done before to Chelsea with players like Sterling, etc., and Cole Palmer. But let's be real. The reason they were selling to Arsenal back then was because they didn't see Arsenal as a threat. Let's just be real. Like, people don't want to hear that. But Pep was like, yeah, go and have a good career down in chasing Champions League football. And then we surprised and we were like, boom, wow, they're now title challengers with us. The reason that he's done that with Chelsea is because he doesn't see Chelsea as fighting for a title. And to be fair, Cole Palmer and Sterling have both gone to Manchester City from Manchester City to Chelsea, and they haven't been title challengers, have they? Chelsea, right? Now that Arsenal are, I would be absolutely stunned if they said, you know what, I know we've given you Jesus and Zinchenko, and now you've caught up with us. Do you fancy trying to beat us in the title and having our backup striker as well? That ain't going to happen. I think if Julian Alvarez goes, it will be to PSG or Atletico Madrid, somewhere like that. I really do. Oh, bless me. Sorry about that, guys. So I feel personally there will be an opportunity for Alvarez to be given a chance, but I think it will be abroad. I do think it will be a foreign club that he leaves Man City for. I don't think Pep Guardiola actually wants him to go. The reports are suggesting that he didn't want KDB to leave, he doesn't want Bernardo to leave, he doesn't want Edison to leave, and he doesn't want Alvarez to leave. But first team football at Alvarez has been hard. It has been. He started the season off very well when KDB was injured. He was kind of playing in that number 10 role, wasn't he, behind Haaland, and both of them were scoring goals. And then he kind of dropped off a bit and he started to play a bit wide and he wasn't quite as good. I quite like him. I think he's a very good player. I don't know if Julian Alvarez pushes the needle or moves the needle for Arsenal to get across the line. I might be wrong. People might be screaming at me now going, are you mad? He wins Arsenal the title. I don't know that I can guarantee that he does. I don't think that he would be guaranteed to come in and score more goals than a Victor Gyökeres, a Victor Osimhen, a Alexander Isak. I don't know that. I mean, he might do. Absolutely, he might do. He might come in and absolutely bang. And you think, what? That was the missing piece of the puzzle. I don't know that Alvarez is as strong as Osimhen or Gyökeres or Tony or some of the other guys we link with. I don't know that Alvarez brings in as much to his game as some of those other players. But what I do know is that in front of goal, he can be lethal. And he's a player who has done very well for Manchester City. But I do not personally see that happening. I don't see Arsenal going for Julian Alvarez. I don't see Manchester City selling Julian Alvarez to Arsenal. I just don't see that being the case. So the Osimhen rumours sound like they're starting to circulate. Julian Alvarez looks like he might be leaving to Manchester City. The link there is not just because he's been linked with Arsenal. but also because he's being linked now with PSG, the club that Victor Osimhen has agreed personal terms with. Why has he not gone there then? Why has Lukaku not gone to PSG? Not PSG. Why has Lukaku not gone from Napoli to Chelsea? There we go. I know I get it right. And then Osimhen over to Chelsea. Why is that not happening? David Ornstein said that it was. Why is it not? He's quite reliable, right? So why is that not happening? So I think personally, there could still be a little bit of a twist and a plot twist here, which is why that's what I've named it. Plot twist. Where's Osimhen going? Where is he going? Where will he end up? PSG, Chelsea, Arsenal, or other? Let me know. Because if I had to put money on it, I probably still would go PSG. But Arsenal, I think he'd be tempted. He knows he's going to play. He knows he's going to bring attributes to his game. He knows he's going to be able to suit the Premier League with his physical stature. All he's got to do is prove that he's technically good enough and that he can ball in front of goal. I think a lot of rival clubs would look at that opportunity of Osimhen and the signing and they'll go, wow, if that works, that could get Arsenal across the line. And that's the sort of signing that I think Arsenal fans would get excited by, personally. So I can see why we're linked. I can see why fans would be excited by that. Is it going to happen? Massive, massive question mark. We do not know. I have not been told anything. And it looks to me as if the Julian Alvarez situation could get interesting. Where is he going to end up? SFISO has said that he looks like he's going to Atletico Madrid. But PSG are also interested now as well. And they're making an offer for him potentially. So this is going to be very, very interesting. That's for sure. I can see there being some movement here. I really can. And I think it would be a very interesting couple of weeks in this window where I think it will be very, very, very interesting and very busy. Very, very busy. Let's take a look at the next rumour, which of course involves Arsenal's outgoings. The reason we're looking at a striker is not just because we need one, it's because one's actually leaving the club. And that, of course, looks to be Eddie Nketiah. Now, Eddie Nketiah and Marseille, what is the latest? Well, the latest at the moment is that Marseille and Arsenal aren't really playing ball at the moment. It doesn't look at the moment like this one is anywhere near getting agreed. But there's definite interest. Personal terms are agreed. He wants to move to Marseille. Marseille and De Zerbi want him. And it could happen. But the price at the moment isn't being met. And Romano suggested here that Arsenal have rejected Marseille's latest proposal for Eddie Nketiah, which is understood to be in the region of 27 million euros, which I believe is around about, 21, 22 million pounds? Something like that, I imagine. Arsenal are holding out for 30 million euros, I think. That's what I think they're holding out for. And it looks as if Marseille are getting a bit annoyed. And I can understand why, because they want the deal done. But Marseille have also got to play ball. And they've got to believe and understand that that is what the price tag is. Romano has also said a few hours ago that Arsenal want at least 35 million euros plus a sell-on clause if any deal for Eddie Nketiah happens. Marseille could now look at other options after having a 27 million offer rejected on Friday. So we've got to be a bit careful here, Arsenal, because at the moment, no other bids are coming in for Nketiah, right? I personally feel like the bids for Nketiah are actually good from Marseille because it means that they're serious about it. What I don't want is Fulham, Wolves, West Ham, Brentford all circling, and going, tell you what, here's 10 million. No, we'll give you 12. We'll give you 15. We just have to be realistic. Like, he isn't going to be 50 million euros. He isn't going to be 40 million euros, and he probably isn't going to be 30 million euros. So if Marseille are coming in with 27 million euros, kind of feel like we need to accept it now because they ain't going to push much more. And it looks like they might have lost a bit of interest. It really does. Because at the moment, it's being suggested that they are not willing to play ball anymore. And if I share this screen of this report, which I literally just saw a minute ago, Marseille have now abandoned their pursuit of Eddie Nketiah. Arsenal's demand of 35 million euros is too much for the French club, who have only offered 27 million euros. Does that mean it's deal off? Does that mean Marseille are no longer interested? Does it mean that we have messed things up in trying to sell Eddie Nketiah? Well, at the moment, it's not looking good, is it? Let's be real. Just by way of people letting me know in the chat, how many would sell Eddie Nketiah for 27 million euros? Because I think I probably would. It's around about, 22 million pounds? Something like that. Let's just accept it and get rid of him. And then we can upgrade him. Let's stop being stingy. I understand that we think there's a price for Eddie Nketiah, but this is not Ian Wright we're trying to sell him, right? We're trying to sell a player who struggled in games, who struggled to keep first-team football, who struggled to score goals. Let's be real. I think we should have just said, yes, do you know what? 27 million euros, let's say yes to it. Let's accept it. But at the moment now, it looks as if they might have pulled out the race and we might have lost a potential deal there now. So let's be real. If we're trying to get 30 million and they're offering 27 million, what we're trying to get £3 million for. Let's just be realistic and say, do you know what? £27 million, we'll chuck a couple of add-ons in there, which says if he gets to this amount of goals and wins this amount of awards, then maybe you earn us a bit more. But let's just be real. Let's stop mucking around. Let's get this deal done. No Arsenal fan I know wants to keep Eddie Nketiah, and no Arsenal fan I know is upset at us selling him for 25 to 30 million. No one is upset with that. So for me, I think we just need to accept it. £27 million offer is quite fair in my opinion. 27 million euros is not a shambles of an offer. For Eddie Nketiah, if they're trying to get Martinelli for that, or Gabriel Jesus, I would understand us laughing at it and howling, in fact. But let's be real. What are we trying to push this extra couple of million for? So let's just be real. Like, we've got to try and get this done. And I think personally, we're trying to push as much as we can. I get it. I understand why. Eddie Nketiah is well respected at Arsenal in terms of how he's come through and what we've done with him and his attitude and all that. But is he good enough? No. Is he talented enough to take Arsenal across the line? No. So we've got to try and get rid of them, then haven't we? Absolute madness. It really is that we're still mucking around with this. I hope this one gets done. I hope they don't pull out the race. I hope we don't mess this one up, because it will be a worry if nobody else comes in for Eddie Nketiah. That's for sure. Listen, people, there's well over 1,000 of you watching here, which is absolutely mad numbers. So please do me a favor and hit the like button and the subscribe button. We're trying to get up to 30k as a community next. Please make sure that you join us as the community rises. There is only 176 likes. That is incredibly embarrassing, people. You are moving as fast as Tottenham are towards a trophy, slowly. Please make sure you hit the like button. I want to try and get that up to at least 600 likes, seeing as there's over 1,000 of you in here. So please make sure you hit the like button to show that you are enjoying the content. So there we go. Reece Nelson, still no movement at the moment. Emil Smith-Rowe, we all know, has gone. Reece Nelson, I think, is a player that it will happen. I just don't know if Leicester are going to play ball. Loan with an obligation's gone very quiet. I think, again, Arsenal were asking for a lot of money. I think asking for £25 million for someone who hasn't really played much football might be a little bit too steep. And I think between 15 and 20 is probably more realistic. Likewise with Eddie, I think 20 to 25 million is probably going to be more realistic. And obviously if Smith-Rowe went for 27 there to Fulham, we're probably not going to get much more than that for Eddie, are we? Let's just be real. Arsenal are not known to be fantastic at selling players. They're just not. They're not known to be fantastic at selling players. It was Mark Overmars and Nicolas Anelka that are still on the list for the top 10 player sales in terms of what we received. Yeah, Anelka left in the year 2000, people. And Mark Overmars also left in the year 2000 with a Memel Petit, I believe. So we're talking nearly 25 years ago. And those two are still two of our top sales in the top 10, along with Oxlade-Chamberlain, I think Willock, Iwobi, all these players. Come on. We've got to get better at this. Smith-Rowe's now in there. That's good. Let's go and get a couple of others, because for me, when you read stats like that, it ain't great. Trust me. Let's take some of your questions, people. Get your questions in. I've started as many as I can. Let's go and talk through some of these. Hey, Dan, what are your thoughts on the João Pedro links? This is just a weird link. He's honestly just the worst Gabriel Jesus, who will cost about 40 million. Listen, I like João Pedro, but it wouldn't be one that excites me. Thought he had a good season last season at Brighton, but was fairly injury prone. Yes, he's a Brazilian forward, and sometimes that gets you excited, but let's remember that Richarlison's also that. Yeah. I think I'm not comparing him to Richarlison. I think he's better, but I don't think João Pedro will take us across the next level. They're also talking about him being near 50 million as well. So, Nifin, I don't think that one's gonna go. In my opinion, I'm not sure it has legs, but let's see. It could be interesting. That's for sure. Just make sure I haven't missed any questions here before I move on. No, not at the moment. Get your questions in, people. Get your super chats in as well, please, because obviously they go to the front of the queue. I don't mind you putting questions in, of course, but please someone put a couple of super chats in so we can get them sorted as well. Steve, big up. I hope you're enjoying your time over in the Algarve, my bro. Says Osimhen would fit in with Arsenal rather than Chelsea. Is he a risk? Yes, but we've just got Emil Smith-Rowe. Yeah, I see Emil Smith-Rowe as a risk as well because obviously of the injuries. But when you've got a player fit there, Steve, honestly, you've got an absolute baller. I know you're a Fulham fan, so big up for listening. I agree that he would 100%, definitely. What am I trying to say? Osimhen would definitely be a better fit, for Arsenal than Chelsea. But for me, I don't know how true these rumours are. And of course, Chelsea at the moment, I don't know what they're doing. I have to be honest. I really do not like. Yeah, let's not go there. Let's go through some other more questions. We've got EJH, who is saying, if Arsenal aren't able to sign a striker, would you be happy with a quality winger instead? I don't think I would be, if I'm honest, because I do believe we need a number 9. If you're going to get rid of Eddie Nketiah, you're actually weakening in terms of player quantity and quality of what you've got. Because as much as I don't like Eddie Nketiah, is he better than nobody? Yeah. So if you're going to have nobody there, you're actually weakening it. So Arteta and Edu have got to get somebody in if they're going to sell Eddie Nketiah, man. They absolutely have to. As for a wide player, yeah, we need that. But if we get a striker, we could play Jesus there. So I'd argue that a striker is more important than a winger. But a lot of people think it's the other way around. But I don't know. I personally feel like if we got a winger, there has to be somebody to get us across that line. Eze, Pedro Neto, Nico Williams, Leroy Sané. It needs to be that level. It needs to be that level for sure. And it also needs to be that level as well as a striker for me. I don't think we can sit there and say that we don't need that. So that's the way I see it. Okay, where else are we? This one comes in from Cam. And Cam says, do you think Arteta would be ruthless with Havertz, as in sell him, if he had a bad year? No, because Fabio Vieira's had a bad year and he's still here. In fact, Fabio Vieira's not had a great 2 years. He's been injury prone. He's not been living up to his price tag, but we've still got him. So I think he'd probably do the same with Kai Havertz, if I'm honest. So that's my thoughts on that one. Big up to Cam for that. This one comes in from Aaron, who says, whom could you take? For me, it's Gyökeres all day. So who would I rather have? Out of those two, because Ivan Toney's been mentioned as well, I still would like Ivan Toney. I think they will give us something different. Let me answer it this way. I think Ivan Toney's Premier League proven, but it would still be a question mark for me whether he can do it in an Arsenal shirt as well as a Brentford shirt. Victor Gyökeres is a risk because it's the Portugal League, and we've all known that Darwin Núñez is coming over and flopped, but he has done it in England before, and his numbers are incredible. Victor Osimhen is one that I think everybody in world football was looking at the end of last season, not the one just gone, the one before that. Everybody was like, oh my God, if Arsenal, Man United sign him, he's the one we've got to get across the line. I think they all give us something different physically. I think they all give us something different, but I think they all give us something similar, which is physically. I think Ivan Toney, we know he causes nuisance and havoc and he's strong on the ball. We know Victor Gyökeres is an absolute mountain. And we know that there's the absolute beast of Victor Osimhen, who, let's be real, physically is very good. But out of the three of them, I would argue that Victor Gyökeres is the one that's actually on form at the moment. So maybe if we're going to spend big, it might be less of a risk to go with him because he's the one that's banging him in at the moment. But it's a very tough one. I don't think there is an definitive answer there, if I'm honest. I think there's definitely going to be a question mark on that. Excuse me. Shelby says, do you think the Nketiah offers are just PR to keep him instead of spending on a new striker? The excuse that we couldn't sell him, no one wanted to pay him, etc. PR tactics for the fans. No, I think there's genuine interest from Marseille. I just think that they want to pay a price and they don't want to go over it. And Arsenal have got a price for Eddie Nketiah and don't want to go under it. And there needs to be, personally, something that's needed in between to meet. And I think that's what we've got to try and do. Personally, if you're going to be in a situation where you've got a valuation and they believe he's a certain price, you do have to kind of come to a compromise. That's kind of what negotiating is about. I hope this one isn't dead in the water because I do feel like we need to get Eddie gone. And I do think that he is wanted by Marseille. I think if they was to go in with 27 million plus add-ons, kind of feel like we need to be accepting that, if I'm honest now. I really do. Because we've got to move. There ain't long to go. Ain't long left. That's the way I see it. Where else are we? This one comes in from Nick. I hope you're well, my bro. He says, hi, Dan. We're doing the right thing for Eddie. If we sold him for less, the Moan Brigade would be all over it. Yeah, I think we've got to be careful here as well that we don't sort of say, oh, yeah, go on then, take him for 15 million. But when you're starting getting over 20 million euros, I kind of feel like potentially we might have to actually look. Because, right, what we've got to be careful of here, we can't say Reece Nelson's not good enough, neither is Smith-Rowe, neither is Fabio Vieira, neither is Eddie Nketiah. And then when someone says, here you go, here's some money, you go, what? We ain't letting you have him for that. Well, you just told me he was rubbish. You just told me he weren't good enough. You just told me he isn't getting in your first team. You just told me he's played 600 minutes in 2 seasons. You just told me that he's not getting ahead of the players you've currently got, so he's not good enough for you. So what are you so trying to keep hold of him for? So we've got to be very, very careful about how we play this, in my opinion. So absolutely. Let's take a look at the next one, which is coming from CS. This is the club in an unfavourable position regarding outgoing sales? I don't think PSI helps, if I'm honest. I don't think it helps that Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah are on ridiculous wages. Smith-Rowe was easy to get done because he was only on about 40 or 50k, if that. I think it was 40, in fact. So Fulham are looking at that thinking, yeah, we can afford him wage-wise. Let's just get the deal done. So that was an easier one to do. Marseille are looking at it thinking, well, we've got to put this guy on an 80 to 90k a week minimum because he's already on 100. So if he's going to take a wage cut to come here, it ain't going to be much. Otherwise, we ain't going to get the player, which means that we can't afford the 30 million they want. So we're going to have to now put in 20 odd to then afford his wages. And that's why we could be falling on our own sword here. We should never have put Eddie on 100k a week. We should never have put Reece Nelson on 100k a week. Crazy. Absolutely madness. So that could be a stumbling block for sure, man. 100%. This one comes in from Niffin, who says, what are your thoughts on Marseille pulling out of the Eddie deal? Should we have just sold him for 23 million? Honestly, if we get anything from 23, 24 million, I would just sell him. I would. They might say he's worth 30, but for the sake of a few £1 million, what are we going to do? What's that going to go towards? What is that actually going to go towards? Is that actually going to prevent us from going and signing a striker? £2 million. We've got billionaire owners, for goodness sake. Like, let's just get him gone and let's actually look at where we should be strengthening instead of trying to argue over £2.50. That's the way I see it. Big up to you, Nifan. This one comes in from Amjid. Said Amjid. I'm so sorry to get your name wrong. I hate it when I do that. I'm so sorry. Big up to you, bro. And I've seen you listening for a while. You're a real one, man. As of right, do you think we are going to win a trophy this season? As of right now, do we think we're going to win a trophy? Yes. I'll tell you why I think we're going to win a trophy. Because I think we're going to take the domestic cup seriously. I think Arteta knows he's got to win something with his side. And if we take the domestic cups seriously, we'll be the second favourites in both of those competitions to win it. So that means other than the Champions League, we are the second favourites to win 3 competitions this year. The Premier League, the FA Cup, and the League Cup. We've got to get one of those 3 across the line, bare minimum. And if it's not one of those, it has to be the Champions League. If it isn't any of them, and we don't win the league, there's going to be, again, huge debates, arguments on podcasts, people falling out, calling each other toxic and negative and over-positive because they want to keep Arteta and because this lot want to sack Arteta. And I cannot deal with that anymore. I'm sick and tired. Are you Arteta in or are you Arteta out? How about we just be Arsenal win and we all want to win? How about that? That's how it is, right? So for me, we've got to win a trophy. We just have to. There's no more mucking around here. We have to win a trophy. We have to. And I don't care which one it is, but we have to have a trophy and a title push as the bare minimum. That's what we need to do for me. I can't see anything other than that happening. Like, real talk, it's mad to me. It really is absolutely mad to me. That people are saying it doesn't matter if we don't win a trophy because this, that, and the third. Come on, man. Like, let's be real. We've got to go and win something, bro. So that's for me. Do I think we'll win a trophy? I'll say yes. I'll be optimistic and say yes. I'll say this is the year Arteta can get us across the line. Is that toxic and negative, people? Like I get called I am? No, I'm having faith. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's keep going with these because there's well over 1,000 of you in. How many likes we up to now, people? Should be well over 300 by now. Yes, we are. Let's get that up to 500, please, people. Make sure you hit the like button. That's all you got to do. Like and subscribe. I'm sure we could get I reckon we could get 150 subscribers, and I reckon we could get 500 likes by the time we finish this. That's the target. Come on, people. All you got to do is hit like and subscribe. 2 buttons that are absolutely free. Subscription costs you nothing. It just shows a lot of love. And the like button means so much, man. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. This one comes in from Baguma. He says, Dan, who would you want as the sporting director if Edu left? Apparently, Marinakis, the owner of Nottingham Forest, wants Edu to oversee his teams. Yeah, I did see the links to this, bro. I did see the links to it. Okay. Who do I want? I want a footballing man. That's for sure. And I would want somebody who loves, breathes, and wants the club to do well. It can't be a manager, so it can't be a Vieira or Thierry Henry or somebody like that. Or it could be a Thierry Henry, to be fair, because he's not in management at the moment. But I don't know that it's a realistic option. If somebody like Gilberto Silva was available, I would look at somebody like him. Dennis Bergkamp, somebody like him. I would be really interested in those sort of names. Tony Adams, those are the sort of names. But I think Edu will stay. I think Edu will be committed here. I would not go anywhere near Marinakis. That's for sure. Absolute nightmare that guy looks. So there we go. We'll see. We'll see. This one comes in from Vishal. It says, what do you think about the fact that Marseille might move on from Eddie after we rejected the £27 million bid? I think we've spoken enough on that now. I think it will be very disappointing if this deal does not get done, because both the player and the club clearly have agreed that they want this to happen. Arsenal need to play ball now, and Marseille, in our defence, need to play ball as well to get this one sorted. There needs to be a compromise. This needs to happen. It really does, man. It really does. So let's see. This one comes in from Shelby. He says, bruv, trust me, that's all PR. It's all PR to let the fans see that they're trying to sell him to buy a striker. They'll keep him and not sign a striker. What do you think? I don't think we will keep him, bro. I don't think we will keep him. I'll be disappointed if we do. If Eddie Nketiah is lining up as our third choice striker and our Carabao Cup striker, we ain't moved forward. And I'll be questioning the whole ownership and the board and the manager as to why that's not happened and upgraded. He needs to go. And I hope he does go. I really do. And I mean that. This is a good shout, by the way. This is a really good shout. That's who I want. That's a really good shout, Amjid. Mark Overmars. That's who I'd want. Fair play. That is who I'd want. This one comes in from Amin. He says, Dan, do you have any knowledge about Ben Segar? He's an Arsenal player for sure. Plays for Monaco. My easy answer to that is no. I'm really sorry. I do not have any idea who that is, if I'm honest. What are we looking at here? No, I don't have a clue who that is. No, I don't have a clue who that is. So sorry, bro. Not for me. Overmars is banned. Is he banned still? Yeah, I think someone said that he's banned. Someone has suggested that he's banned. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Someone look into that for me and let me know if that's the case. This one comes in from Samip. Says, I'd rather go for Gyökeres and Chiesa. Would you? I wouldn't touch Chiesa because I just think he's got too many injury problems, man. And they're really bad injuries as well. I saw him in the Euros against us? He was fantastic. He had one of the tournaments of his life. And since then, he's done nothing. Gyökeres, though, I'm a fan. I am a fan. I have to say, bro, I am a fan. So that one I could understand. That would make sense, to be fair. That one would make sense. So fair play. Make sure you get your questions in, people. Starting to come to the last few now. So let's get some more in. Let's keep this going. Because you guys are absolute legends. Smashing the like button as well for me, which is superb. What we're now up to now. We're now up to nearly 350. Let's get that up to 400 very quickly, people. Let's make sure that we do that. And make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. I want to see the subscribers going up at the same time as the likes, people. Come on. I'm sure you can do it. Here we go. Why do we have Fizzy's? Fizzy's having a go at you, see? Come on. Fizzy's having a go at you, people. He wants you to do better. I'm sure we can as a community. We're all gooners, man. There's all love. So why do we only have a quarter of the viewers liking the video? Come on, people. All you got to do is hit 2 buttons, man. Like and subscribe. That's it. That's all you got to do. So big up to you. Big up to Fizzy as well. Crusader, what you saying? Says, can we stop being reactionary? Marseille sold 3 strikers this window. We're going to squeeze some more from Marseille. Okay, I don't think it's people being reactionary. I think it's people being concerned that this deal might fall through. Now, Marseille have not said we're pulling out, but they have said that they, at the moment, have abandoned any more offers coming in. It doesn't mean they're not going to go back in. This one, I believe, will get done. I think the rumours are too heavy. When he's agreed for personal terms, he's the guy they want, and De Zerbi says, look, I want him. I can imagine they'll either squeeze the £2 million extra, or we'll say, do you know what, just give us some add-ons and we'll get it done. That's what I think it'll be. It's just a little bit more patience needed, I think. So let's see what happens there. This one comes in from North London Forever. I hope you're well, my bro. He says, Dan, all these rumours are driving me crazy, mate. Yeah, you and me both. I just want Marino, Nico Williams and Gyökeres. Would you be happy with that? I love all your shows, mate, especially with Lawless. He's hilarious. Well, hilarious is definitely a word that people use. There's other words that people use for Lawless as well, but it is all love. He is a great lad, and it was a good show yesterday. So make sure you check that one out, because Tobes and Lawless were going at it. So please make sure you check that one out from last night, people, because that was class as ever. I do love getting them 2 on, and everyone else does. All the comment section was going mad, like, yeah, this trio needs to be continued. Get these guys in, blah, blah, blah. Get these guys on regularly. So, yeah, it's all love. Excuse me. Oh. So let me answer this. Excuse me. Rumours are driving me crazy too, brother. Trust me. I want Marino too, because I hear good things, and it looks like Arteta has a plan for him in the 8, so fair play. Nico Williams, I can't see happening. I think there's 3 options. I think the option is he stays for another year. The other option is he goes to Barcelona. And the other option is he chooses to go abroad like Arsenal. And I think in the order, he's less than likely to come Arsenal. He's not that likely now to leave. And he's more than likely to stay, just for the 1 more year. So I imagine he'll probably stay now. So let's see what happens. Because at the moment, it doesn't look like Barcelona have agreed anything with him. Doesn't mean he doesn't want to go. Doesn't mean he wants Arsenal or another club. It might mean that he wants to stay. So that could be interesting. As for Gyökeres, yeah, I think him and Osimhen were two players that I'd look at and go, yeah, do you know what I'd take? In fact, I'd take Tony, Gyökeres or Osimhen over Jesus, Havertz and Eddie. All 3 of them. I would. I really would. That's the way I see it. Would you be happy with that? Yeah, I would. I'd be very happy with that. I really would. Calafiori, Marino, Williams and Gyökeres. That would be fantastic. I'd like Eze. Eze's on my list. Pedro Neto is also a player I like. But let's see what we go. Cheers for the love, man. You love my shows? Well, I love the fact you love my shows. So big up, man. Thank you so much, bro. Niffin comes in and says, Dan, I have a bad feeling this window. Why, bro? I think it'll be another 5 out of 10 window. Calafiori is good. Marino is decent. But we need a top player or 2 in that forward line for it to be an 8 or 9 out of 10 window. Listen, if we get, after Calafiori, if we get Marino, if we get another winger, and if we get a striker, there's no reason why it can't be an 8 out of 10 window, bruv. Because we're basically covering the positions that's needed. If we got Eze and Gyökeres on top of Calafiori and Marino, I think it would be, because we've pretty much covered every area then. So that's what we got to believe and have faith in, man. That's what I'm really hoping. So fingers crossed, bruv. Fingers crossed. This one comes in from Johan, who says, Johan says 500 likes. 500 likes and Dan will sing Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe song one more time. I like it. Do you know what? I'm going to miss that song a bit, actually, because I thought that was one of the better ones. Here we go, Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe. What are we going to be singing now? Maybe, just maybe, Bukayo Saka will get his proper own song. I mean, he kind of has got one, but maybe it's time that we actually give him the flowers that he deserves, because I'll miss Smith-Rowe, but I'm not crying about it. This might sound really harsh. I'm going to say it anyway. I grew up on players better than Emil Smith-Rowe that left the club. And unfortunately, there is definitely sentimental value for sure within football. The problem I've got with it is I didn't love Emil Smith-Rowe like I did Ian Wright or Thierry Henry. And when they retired and left, I was like really gutted, like genuinely really gutted. Do you know what I mean? I'm not genuinely devastated that he's gone. I think it's sad. I wish him all the best. I think he'll do well. I think he will. I think there's an opportunity for him to have a really good game. So, or I say game career at Fulham. But let's not start getting too devastated by this, because we will replace him. We will move forward. Ethan Nwaneri might come in and be fantastic. And I think we need to just look at where we are now. Like, he did well to get us back into the Champions League. He was one of our better players. He's gone on to do better things. He's got first team football. So here we go. Or I should say, here we go. Here we go. Saka and no more Smith-Rowe. That's how it is. We're nearly at 400 likes, people. Let's get that up to 500, please. And we will go from there. Let's get the next question going. Let me just answer, because Hassam has messaged me, which is always good to see. Where is he? Cool. Legend. Gotta love Hassam. Gotta love Hassam. Make sure you go follow Hassam, people. We're going to redirect after this straight to This Is Football on Hassam's channel. So go show him some love when we do that. Okay. Let's go to the next question, shall we? Where are we? Lost my questions now, people. Where are we at? Here we go. Mayor West says Eddie needs to go, but how long would you hold on to Jesus? This is a really good question, actually. This is a really good question. The reason it's a really good question is because I think he's got this year to prove himself. I don't think we can be hanging around too much longer. Like, we're in a situation, real talk, where Jesus has been bought now for, this will be his third full season. And we're still trying to let him have a run of games without him getting injured. Now, I like him, and I think as a footballer, he's magnificent to watch. One of the better players to watch, in fact. But when I look at it, I'm thinking, are we in a position where we can actually keep waiting for Jesus just to show us that he can get to 20 goals? Is there a scenario where Jesus can get to 20 goals? Is there a scenario where Jesus can stay fit for the full season? Is there a scenario where Jesus might not be a number 9 and might actually be a backup winger? These are all questions that I think are legit. And I think Gabriel Jesus might not answer all them this season, but what he's got to do is prove this season that he's still the player that Arsenal want him to be, and that he's still a part of Arsenal's squad that can go and take us to a title. That's the way I see it. So, real talk, people. If Eddie goes, there's no excuses for Gabriel Jesus. I think he should cover for Saka more. I see him more as a winger, personally. That's, for me, where I see Jesus' position, to cover for Saka. I saw him play there against Man City in the home game at the Emirates. It was one of the best games I've seen Jesus have in an Arsenal shirt. Yes, I've seen him come on in different positions and score goals. I've seen him be one of our better players in the Champions League. The season just gone against Seville away, he was phenomenal. Scoring goals at home. Created the goal that we scored, if you remember, against Porto and against Bayern Munich. For me, definitely, for sure, we have got a top player there. But he needs to show it more consistently, and he needs to stay fit. Great question. Best question of the day so far. Nuances of Fate says, who is going to pay Eddie 100k? We've overplayed our hand. Listen, I mentioned this earlier, and I think it's mad that we've paid this guy 100k a week. And now we're struggling to get rid of him. Funny that. Never should have been on 100k a week. We really should not have. Absolutely mad, but there we go. Amjid says, because the Champions League draw is automatically drawn and we get 8 random fixtures, who would you want to play? Wow. Who would I want to play? People say this is a cop-out decision, but I want it to be an easy as possible. And I know that sounds mad because we're in a Champions League, so it's never going to be easy. But trust me, when I say this, I want it to be as easy as possible. I do not want to be facing Man City or Real Madrid until the last couple of games, the semi-final and the final. Easiest way to say this, The only two teams I fear are Man City and Real Madrid. Don't fear PSG. I still don't fear Bayern Munich, even though I know they can beat us. I don't fear PSG. I don't fear any of the other teams in Spain, Italy, France, or Germany. That means that if it is a team that is not Manchester City or Real Madrid that knocks us out, it will be huge disappointment. Huge disappointment. That's the easiest way to answer that question, my bro. Still almost 1,000 of you in here. Please make sure you've hit the like button. We're over 400. Let's get to 500 likes as quickly as possible, please, people. And please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well, which is free. Promise, Gunnar, your channel growth has been good recently, Dan. 50k very soon. If I get to 50k one day, that will be an unbelievable opportunity. That would be a brilliant dream. I'm not sure it will happen, my bro, but if it does, then hopefully one day I'll wake up and see that there's 50k here. Hopefully one day I'll wake up and there'll be a dream of 100k. You got to start somewhere. We're not even on 30 yet. So if you guys can help us to get to 30, then maybe I can start to dream of 50. So please, people, hit this like and then the subscribe button. It really does mean a lot. The two buttons are absolutely free as well. So it really does help the channel. So thank you so much. Where are we here? I'm going to lose my questions, am I? No, I've got them back, which is good. Let's take a look at this one. I don't know what was going on there with my mouse. Apologies, people. Lord London says, we sell Eddie for Gyökeres and we sell Nelson for Pedro Neto. Where am I going wrong? Listen, that sounds so easy, doesn't it? And I would take both of them players. I actually would prefer Eze because I think Eze can cover for Osimhen. Eze can cover for Ødegaard and Saka. Pedro Neto, I think probably could do that, and I think he's a baller. But I think Eze is a lot more versatile in terms of the left eight, the Ødegaard position. So the Ødegaard position, the Rice position, the Saka position, and the Trossard and Martinelli position. If we did need another left winger, Eze can cover. I think Neto is definitely more of a wide man, but I rate him highly, and I think he'd be an upgrade on Nelson. And of course, Gyökeres would be one on Eddie and Nketiah as well. So yeah, let's see what happens there. Kyle, big up, bro. I hope you're well. It says, do you think Brentford would go in for Nketiah if Tony is sold? I don't understand why we don't try and do some business with these swap deals, man. Like, I really don't. Like, personally, I just do not understand why we did not try to go and say to Fulham, we'll take Paulinho and Smith-Rowe can go with some money. Go to Palace and say, look, I know Eze's got a release clause, but if you want Reece Nelson and some money, here you go. Go up to Brentford and say, let's do a swap deal with some money and Eddie for Tony. Like, I don't know why we don't try and do this personally. I honestly believe that we should be looking to do more business like that. That's what I think. So that one's very interesting. But big up, Carl. That's a great question, man. It really is. Wilson in the house. How you doing, my bro? I hope you're very well. Says, which striker do you prefer, Gyökeres or Osimhen, and why? This is a really good question, and it's one that's hard for me to answer. I think in terms of the way that they both play, which is the very little that I've seen of both of them, because I can't lie to you and say that I watch the Portuguese league or the Italian leagues, right? But what I will say is that I think what they do is definitely equal each other out in terms of strength. I think they're both very strong players. I think they're both very physical players. Victor Gyökeres has got the aerial ability and the height, which I think he's got over Victor Osimhen. Victor Gyökeres has also got better form that he's got over Osimhen. So at the moment, I think that's why people are looking towards him. What you can't deny is if Osimhen gets the form that he hit at Napoli, you go for him. So my answer to that question is right now, I take Gyökeres. But if I know that the form of Victor Osimhen is going to be of that of the season before last, I'm taking him. 100%. I'm taking him, man. So let's see. Let's see what happens. I think Osimhen will probably be better pressing and ball carrying. But then I look at the stats of Victor Gyökeres and his ball carrying is very, very good. So, yeah. His link-up play is not as bad as people give him credit for, Osimhen, either. I think a lot of people say that. So, great question. Very, very difficult one as well to answer. So, big up to you, Wilson. He's also put another question in, has Wilson, which, of course, is this one. I'm just catching up with other questions, bro, so give me 2 seconds. There we go. How many midfielders do Arsenal need to sign and why? I said 2 at the start of this window, and I believe that it is still the same. We've sold Smith-Rowe. We've sold El Neni, which, well, we haven't sold him. They both left the club. That means we need 2. And if we sign Marino and Eze, I'm happy. I'm happy. That's what I would say. So those are the 2 that I would like. So, yeah, let's see how many we do get. Big up to Wilson, man. I hope you're well. Nuances of Fate says, if Arteta doesn't win anything, should we let him go after this season? If we win a trophy and we title race, Arteta, fair play. If we win a trophy, Mikel Arteta can do that and be successful. If we finish trophyless and we don't win the title, I would not be against replacing the manager. Yes, I've said it. A lot of people don't like to hear it. But we have to move. We have to move. We can't hang fire. We've got to go and get someone that can get us across the line. What I will say is actually the Cronkies will not sack him. So Mikel Arteta is going to be the Arsenal manager for the next few years, whatever happens. So I'm kind of bored of the question now. I don't agree that he should just be the manager for the next 5 years, whatever. Personally, I want to win, and we have to get across the line. But I don't think that it matters to the Cronkies. I really don't. So that's the way it is. That is the way that it is. Let's take a look at this next question. We've got the last few questions now, people, before we close. And then you're going to be redirected to This Is Football over at Sam's channel, which is going to be talking about a very important Arsenal topic. So you'll enjoy that one as well. So stay tuned and then go and raid the chat just with 12th man raid, Dan Potts raid, whatever you want to do. Go and show some love to Hassam, who you all love anyway. And most of you are subscribed to, I'm sure. Given the shirt behind you, who do you want to see wearing the number 10 shirt next season? A lot of people say Erdegaard, and I can understand that. If it isn't going to be Erdegaard, I'd give it to Eze. I'd sign Eze and give it to Eze. That's what I would do. Great question, though, man. I like shirt numbers as well. This one comes in from Philippe. He says, how far do you expect Arsenal to go in the cup competition this season? I want Arsenal to get to the final of the League Cup and win it. I want Arsenal to get to the final of the FA Cup and win it. If they can't, I want one of them. I want Arsenal to get to the minimum of the semi-finals of the Champions League. And I want Arsenal to win the Premier League. There we go. What do I think we'll do? I think we'll win a domestic cup and I think we'll title race. That's what I think we'll do this season. Let's go for this one. North London Forever says, Dan, if we signed Gyökeres, Nico Williams and Marino with a fit Timber and Jesus, do you think we can bring the Premiership home? Thanks for great content and entertainment. All the best, fellow Gunner. Thank you so much, my bro. Yeah, listen, those sort of signings for me are what can take us across the line. A killer in the box is Gyökeres. A player who can give us some flair and some backup and some rotation with Saka is Williams. And Marino comes in with an 8 to allow Rice to not have to play there all the time. That for me with Timber, with Calafiori. Listen, no reason why we can't, my bro. No reason why we can't. We got a super chat. Got the super chat from Kingsley, who says, what will the energy be if Arsenal win nothing again? Unfortunately, mate, it will get incredibly toxic. There'll be massive question marks over whether Mikel Arteta should stay. There'll be huge question marks over why we're going in this direction and why the Cronkies have not sacked him. You're going to get so many fans that are fighting and against whether we should keep him or whether we should not, which is why, Kingsley, trust me, brother, we have to win something this year, man. We have to win a trophy and silverware. Thanks so much for the super chat, my bro. I really appreciate that. Mario says, why don't you fear Liverpool in the Champions League? Anfield Knights. It's a great shout, to be fair. I didn't even think of Liverpool. The reason I didn't think of them is because they weren't in it last year. Obviously, this season they are in it. I will say this. Under Klopp, they were very, very scary. Under Rafa Benitez, they were very, very scary. I don't know what they're going to be like under Slot. So I'm not going to say that Liverpool aren't going to be a threat and have a chance of winning the Champions League, but I will say that I would not like them. So I'll respect them, because I always do in Europe, 100%. Last few questions now. This one is coming in from Amjid, who says, start, bench, sell. Henri, Bergkamp, right. Oh, you bastard. That is hard. That is hard. Oh, my word. Amjid, that is a horrible question, my bro. Well, let me say this. My favourite player ever is Ian Wright. The best player to wear the shirt ever is Dennis Bergkamp. The best goal scorer and striker that we've had is Thierry Henry. So that is a very hard question for me to answer. Okay, I've got to answer it. I've got to answer it, haven't I? I'm starting Dennis Bergkamp. I'll tell you why. Dennis Bergkamp made every single player around him better. Whether it was Nicolas Anelka, Robin van Persie when he played with him for the last season, Thierry Henry, Ian Wright, he made them all better. He has to start. Because when you start him, the striker alongside him scores goals because he feeds them all day long. That's why I'd start Bergkamp. I would bench Thierry Henry because Thierry Henry coming on is going to scare defenders. And I would sell Ian Wright, and I hate that because I love him. He's my favourite player, but he wasn't as good as the other two. And that's where I'm ending because that was a horrible question, bro. But I appreciate the love anyway. Listen, people, make sure you do me a favor and hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're heading towards 30K pretty quickly, so please make sure that we can get there. Thank you so much as well for all of your support. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for showing Manscaped some love. Thank you for going and buying the Beard Hedger. You get 20% off if you click on that link and then go to the Beard Hedger through Beard and Face. Click the Beard Hedger, add it to your cart. You'll see 20% has come off. So please make sure you do that as well and don't miss that deal. We're nearly at 500 likes, people. Please make sure that you hit the like button. Please make sure that you hit a like on the way out and subscribe to the channel. And don't go anywhere. And do me a favor, because I'm going to head over there now and see who's going to join me. So this is football, where you go and sit in the chat and say, Dan Potts raid, 12th man raid, whatever you want to do. So please make sure you do that. We're out of here, people. Take it easy. And as always, up the Arsenal. We're out of here. Laters.